Hi, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to cook artichokes two ways. Jerusalem artichokes, I have a glut of them from my veg patch. So I'm going to make soup and I'm going to make roasted artichokes. So join me and keep watching. Hi, it's Lisa here from Soul to Soul Yoga. So today I'm making soup. I've just been on the veg patch because I grow quite a lot of my own veg and I've been growing artichokes, Jerusalem artichokes. Have a look at a massive amount of artichokes. So those are cleaned. Cassie, can you just show in that bucket off the Cassie, show in that bucket. That's full. And that is a tiny, tiny percentage of the artichokes I've had this year. They've been abundant. They're the sort of crop, so they're like a tuber, like a potato that you just put in, and basically you get a whole ton more of artichokes. What's lovely about these is that they taste really good. Well, I love them. They're really, really good for you and nutritious. But equally, you can't kill them, she says. And when they grow, they look like a beautiful flower because they're Jerusalem artichokes, and Jerusalem means sunflower, so they're from the sunflower family. So they have these beautiful yellow flowers. So I would recommend you get a tuber or two. You can have some off me if there's some left. Put it in. You can put it into your flower beds and have it as a big flower, and then dig up. Make sure you leave one in. It's impossible not to leave one in, which is why I've got tons this year. And you've got a wonderful crop. But beware, they are also known as fartichokes because they have something in them that when it digests, it creates a lot of wind. It's not necessarily a bad thing apart from the people around you. They don't affect me, but they do affect my family, but they're really good. So the way I would normally cook them is I would either in the skins just cook them, chop them, roast them with a little garlic and rosemary, and that's delicious. And then you can freeze them. But today I'm going to make soup because I've got loads and I want some nice fresh soup for my lunch, and that's also delicious. So I'm going to make soup I'm going to make a massive pot because you see I've got a load, and then I can freeze them. I'll put them in a little pots. So save your soup pots that you get, those little plastic pots. If you have them, save them, and you can then make soup and freeze it. So you've always got soup. Soup's so easy to make, but it's really nutritious. So I've got 3 onions in there, and you can see I've got about 7 or 8 cloves of garlic because I'm going to make a big pot. But if you're only going to make a small pot, obviously you can use less. Now, artichokes, I'm not sure they're something you see in every supermarket, probably not. Farmers markets, definitely. So this is why I recommend growing them. They're easy to grow. You don't have to use celery, but I have some celery that needs using up, so I'm going to pop celery in. Onion and garlic is your base, but I'm going to pop the celery in because it just adds an extra flavour. And I'm cheating. You can just chop this, and because it's soup, you don't have to be particularly fine, or you could just chop it up. But I'm just going to blitz it all up because that's done the chopping for me and it saved me a job. Now, if you use a bowl, you're going to have to wash the bowl. So chopping is less bowls to wash, but we're going to have to do washing up later. So I decided I'm just going to use this. So over to the cooker cassonge. And we're just going to use a little bit of vegetable oil or rapeseed oil, just some neutral flavoured oil. And as you can see, this is really roughly chopped. So I'm going to just let that heat up a minute and pop it in. And really, this is the boring bit. But all we're going to do is we're going to fry off these for a little while till they're soft and just starting to release their flavours. So I always like to pop salt in when you're cooking the onions. This just kind of helps them to cook a little as well. And you can always season later as well. So first stage is we're just going to leave this to simmer. So back to the workstation, Cass. And I'm going to prepare my artichokes. So these have been scrubbed. I am not. You could peel them. Oh my gosh, if you peeled artichokes, look at that. You don't need to. There's lots of nutrition in the skin and they're perfectly fine to eat. Scrub them and then you're going to chop them. So you just want to chop them like this. You can see they're white inside. And then I'm just going to chop them all like this. And then after that's been simmering for 5 or 10 minutes till just it's sort of started to go on a low heat. maybe even a few minutes if you like. It doesn't matter, it's going to cook all together. I'm going to pop all the artichokes in, and then I'm going to add some stock, some seasoning, and some thyme. If you have fresh thyme, which I probably have in the garden, I'll go and find it. Might even put a little bit of rosemary in, or just dried herbs is fine. And then we're going to come back to it when we're at stage 2. Okay, so they've been sauteing away for a few minutes and they're nice and soft. Okay, so stage 2 is artichokes. As you can see, I've cut them all up into small random pieces, giving them a good scrub. As I said, I would not bother. No, oops, have I done too many? Nah, I'll be all right. So pop them in. And then you want the stock. I mean, this is just, these are just cubes, like organic vegetable cubes. You could make your own stock, which would be better. I don't have any at the moment. I mean, to make your own stock isn't hard, and you can freeze it, but there are some really good ones and some really good bouillons as well that you can buy to keep in. It just adds a little bit of depth of flavour, and yeah, it also has some salt in, so you don't always have to add too much extra salt, which you probably want with soups though. So now coming over here, Cass, we'll let that start to come to a boil. And I have some herbs to pop in from the garden. What's at this time of year, this is being taped in January, just the end of January. So the only things that are left in the garden at the moment, there are some signs of herbs coming up, but there's some dried thyme still, and some, sorry, not dried thyme, fresh thyme. So these little sprigs, which come up they stay all winter. So I'm just going to take the leaves off a few sprigs of this, but you know, I'm not being very precise because it's all going to be blitzed up. So you just want to make sure you get as much off as you can. And then I'm going to actually add some rosemary too, because I have it, because rosemary again tends to stay all year in our climate. So just add a little bit of herby, whatever you've got. If you had sage out, you could probably use that. Could use dried herbs just to add some extra flavour. So I'm going to just give this all a really good chop. You know, you could probably put this in the processor with all those initial bits just to really make it even easier. And then we're going to pop this into the pot. Okay, so that's going in as well. There's probably a tablespoon and a half or something. I'm going to pop a little bit of extra salt because I know that artichokes are going to require some seasoning, and a good load of pepper. That's probably going to need a little bit more water. You want to just cover the artichokes. Now, at the end of this recipe, I'm going to actually add some oat cream, or you could use soya cream or any kind of cream to make it creamy. Again, you don't have to use it, but I just like it because it makes a bit more of a cream-based soup. But if you weren't going to use cream, you could use any plant-based milk. So you could pop soya milk or oat milk or any kind of, even coconut milk might be nice. I don't know, haven't tried it. Instead of a bit of the fluid, and cook it down in that. Just makes it like a cream soup. So now I'm going to cover this and pop it in. I'm going to put this in the oven, but of course you could just cook it on the stovetop. But as I cook with an Arga type oven, we cook in the oven. So I'm going to pop that in until the artichokes are nice and soft and everything is kind of combined together. It's probably going to take 20 minutes on a low heat at least. Leave it a bit longer. With soups, all the goodness goes into the water, so you're not actually boiling anything out, and you want everything to be soft enough to blitz up. So while the soup is cooking, I've also prepared some more artichokes for my roasted artichokes. You can see I've scrubbed these. You can leave the skins on. It's really, really going to be hard to peel these. Scrub them, cut them into similar-ish sizes, but there are a few random small ones. I've popped them with some chopped garlic and some rosemary from the garden, but you could skip that, I guess. Alexa, stop timer. And then just going to pop some oil. So I've warmed the pan. You could warm the oil in advance. I guess that would probably be better, but I haven't, so I'm not. And then just coat like you would roast potatoes. You just want to coat it all nicely. And then I'm going to pop these in a hot oven. Again, it depends how long they cook, because some of these are quite small. So, but they do go very soft. They don't go crispy like roast potatoes. So you don't want to be waiting to that, but they will start to really go soft, and you can test them. Maybe put them in a hot oven about 220 for initially about 20 minutes. See how they are, and then pop them in for a little longer anyway. Okay, so this has been simmering. It's been in the oven, or you could simmer it on the top for probably a bit longer than I thought. It's taken about 25, 30 minutes before these have become soft. So obviously, with vegetables, it's just a case of making sure that it's cooked to how you want it. Nothing is an exact science. So we've got these, and at the same time I have been cooking, I will show you, you've been cooking the roasted artichokes. Now these are ready. Have a look there. We're going to finish them off. So these are finished. You can see, oh, they're really soft, and some of the garlic has gone caramelized, and some of the bits, yeah, they're really nice, aren't they, Cass? We love. They make you. They do give you wind, not me. Okay. I know, I'm weird. I'm going to pop these back in just for a couple more minutes, I think, but more or less they're done, you can see. Let's finish off the soup. Okay. So, bringing it over here. Let me just, sorry, Cass. Because I want a bowl. So I'm going to show you how we finish it off now. So, with soups, you could pop it in the same liquidizer that I use, but I like a stick blender because it makes it nice and creamy, and I have one, and they're inexpensive to buy. They're really good to make soups. So all you do is you pop it in. I've already seasoned it. Actually, I'm going to pop a bit more pepper in there because it's got salt in. Yeah, we can have a bowl of soup. It's roasting. Careful. Oi, cameraman, and there we go. So a little bit more of that. And all I'm going to do is just whiz it. Be really careful with these things. You make sure it's at the bottom, because if you don't, it could spill or split everywhere. And this is hot, obviously. You could wait till the soup's cooled down a bit, but I'm just doing it while it's red hot because I want a bowl, and I'm going to show you what I'm doing. So you can see it's already starting to become a little more creamy. Completely blitzed. Okay, so that's completely blitzed now. So I'm just going to check it for seasoning. And you can see it's really gone creamy anyway. A little more salt. Should have brought the salt over. So I think this is a lot of soup, so a little more salt, a little more pepper. Well, I love pepper, and I'll always put fresh pepper on as well. I haven't put much salt in because it's got the stock in anyway as it was cooking. So actually adding some salt for this amount isn't too bad. You don't need it. Everyone's preference is different, but for some vegetables it really helps to bring out the flavours. And there you go. Let me have another taste. It's really good. So I'm going to serve it now, and I really should have all my bits because I'm going to have a bowl. It does look good. So you can see, just going to ladle a couple out. Now I have this Oatly cream. You could use some, if you wanted to put some soya milk in or soya cream or anything, you don't have to, but I'm going to pop just a little blob on top and stir it round just to make it even more kind of luxurious. A tiny bit more cracked black pepper on the top. Et voila! Artichoke soup. You want to try, Cass? It's really hot. And also, as you saw, really easy roasted garlic and rosemary artichokes too, which we'll eat them over the next couple of days. And because we've got so many artichokes, some of them will be frozen. So I'm going to freeze some of this soup too in batches. We're lucky we've got a big freezer, and also I'm going to freeze some of the artichokes, the roasted. So I would urge you to try them, but beware of the wind. Enjoy. Namaste.